What's going on, guys? Right, Teacher in the house, and we are back with another tier list. As always, we are going through the designs of all the generations of Pokemon. We are now heading up towards Unova. So if you've missed the 4 previous installments of this series, there'll be a playlist link down in the description below. While you're down there, leave a like and subscribe if you are new, of course. But first things first, as is always the case, my opinions on design is subjective, so if you have a different design opinion to me, if my favorite is one of your least favorite, that's totally okay. But just to go through, S tier are my favorites, A tier are designs I like, B tier have no real feelings towards, C tier are designs I'm not super keen on, and D tier I wouldn't be sad if they were deleted from the game. Well, with all that being said, let's get ready to rock and roll. Let's start with Victini, as it's right at the very start. Victini is a mythical I really like. It's not my favorite, but it is definitely a design that I love. It used to be my favorite mythical, but it is not anymore. Still a great design though. Snivy, really like Snivy's design. Servine I wasn't that big on, the legs kind of didn't really do it for me. But Superior is my favorite. I have to say it. Of the Unovan starters, Superior is definitely my favorite. Very regal looking snake. Really, really cool design. And definitely a perfect final evolution. Tepig, like this design. But I did not like Emboar and Pignite. Pignite and Emboar, I should say. Didn't really like these guys. I didn't really like the fact it became bipedal. The designs just look a little bit weird to me. I was never a huge fan of sort of the standing up design. Obviously Emboar has the suffering effect of the triple fire fighting, which nobody liked anyway. But Emboar's design just isn't it for me. Oshawott an adorable design. Really like it as a starter. Makes a lot of sense. Duo I also really like. I really like this as an evolution. Samurott was a bit of a disappointment to me, if I'm being honest. I know a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, you just don't like it just because it went quadruped, and that's true. That is the reason I don't like it, is because it kind of felt like a very sad evolution to me. It just isn't there. As an evolution from Duat, it just isn't it for me. Patrat's kind of boring. Nothing really all that exciting about it, and Watchog is kind of the same. Just generally very boring designs, typical early Route 1s. Lillipup I don't mind though. I don't really love or hate it. It's a nice Pokemon. Herdier is kind of the same, and I like Stoutland. Stoutland is definitely a good final evolution design. It's a little bit quirky. It's not just a standard dog, which I like. Purloin is okay. Not really that fussed, and Liepard the same. Don't really have anything towards these designs. It's a nice early dark. Makes sense. The Semi-Monkeys, get these out of the game, please. These are trash. I don't know why these were added to the game, but I just hate their designs. They're really lackluster. And they just don't really need to exist. They're just Dax filler. Really bad designs as a whole. Mono, perfectly fine. No, nothing against it. Mashana's fine as well. No real issues with either of those. I think they're generally decent design psychic types. They make a lot of sense for what they're aiming to be. Pidove is bland. Tranquil is also bland. Unpheasant is slightly better but still bland. These are just boring early birds. There's nothing really that inspiring about them. Blitzel I like. It's an electric zebra, and I like some Striker as well. Really nice designs. Definitely brilliant electric types. Obviously, with the speedy looking things, Striker is obviously really quick as well. I think their designs make a lot of sense. I like the electricity elements they managed to add onto the zebra design. Rock and Roller is fine. Nothing too special about that. Boldor is also fine. Gigalith is a bit better. Definitely like the evolution line as a whole. It's a very simple evolution line. It's kept its color scheme for the most part all the way through. But I do think Gigalith is a great final evolution. Certainly better than Golem, which is kind of its Cantonian counterpart. Woobat is fine. No real issue with that. Swoobat looks a little bit odd to me, though. I'm not super big on Swoobat. I think it's the protrusions on the top of the head that I just don't really get why they're there. And it kind of looks a bit off-putting. And especially with that sprite that is on there, it just looks like it's got 1 foot. It's actually got 2, but it's fine. Drillbit's a really cute design. I like it. Excadrill is brilliant. I love the design on it. I love the fact that the claws on its arms and the drill bit on its head can make a full drill. That's a really sick design choice. I think this is a perfect design for a steel ground type. Makes a huge amount of sense. I don't know. It's fine. I'm not quite sure what it's actually supposed to be, but as it is the Chansey equivalent, it does its job fine. There's no good or bad side to it. Timber, I like Timber's design a fair bit. Usually I'm not a fan of Pokemon with tools, but I think Timber makes sense. But Girder and Conkeldurr, I'm not a big fan of design-wise. I love Conkeldurr competitively and during playthroughs. Workforce has been a monster in a lot of playthroughs that we've done. But I gotta be honest, the design of these two really puts me off. It's mainly the heads, because that's not actual hair on their heads. It is actual just flesh, and the noses just look a bit off to me. Like, I don't mind the veins on the body and stuff like that. That's okay. But these are too humanoid. And their heads are just a little bit weird to me. Timpole is cute. I like Timpole's design. Palpitoad I'm a little bit less of a fan of. Kind of looks a little bit weird, but it makes up for it with Seismitoad. I think these are really an interesting evolution line for sure. I'm a huge fan of Seismitoad. Sock and Throw, these can get out of the game. These are absolutely trash. I hate their designs. It's way too humanoid. There's not really enough Pokemon in it to me. It looks like two different humans that have got a very awkward spray tan and have a couple of fingers cut off. It just doesn't look right to me. Swaddle is fine. No real issues with Swaddle. Swadloon is fine as well. Leavanny is a little bit too humanoid for me. It's kind of too human shape. I would have liked it to have kept a more bug-like shape. I guess they were trying to make it look like Flick from A Bug's Life, I guess, but it just kind of looks a bit awkward. Venipede is fine. Nothing too wrong about that. Whirlipede's a cool design choice, actually. I like its evolution line, and Scolipede is amazing. I love this design of evolution line. And it does progressively get better, so I guess it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, huge fan of Scolipede's design. It's a great choice for a bug-type Pokemon. Cottony, little Cotton Ball, is fine. It's cute and adorable. Whimsicott, again, cute and adorable. Competitively, this would be S tier for me, but we are doing a design list. I like this evolution line. I think it's a really well-executed design. Makes perfect sense for a Grass Fairy type. And the way it works. The Lilligant line, Paddle, I'm not that keen on, to be honest. It's a little too on the nose. For me, I do like Lilligant a bit more, though. While it is a bit too humanoid for my liking, I do actually think they may put enough grass elements on it. So I don't have too much affinity. I don't hate it. It's kind of an indifferent mon to me. Basculin, they're kind of boring. They're just generic fish. To be honest, I don't really rate their designs that much at all. Sandal is fine, no problem with Sandal. Krokorok is fine as well, and Crocodile's a bit better. The only thing that kind of makes me a little bit less keen on the Sandal and Crocodile line is they are a bit too close to typical crocodile colors. The sort of dark brownish color. The pink on the belly is a little bit odd, but I do like Crocodile a lot. Darumaka, it's fine. Not overly keen on it. Darmanitan Zen is a bit goofy looking, but I do like regular Darmanitan. I think really cool design, definitely very inspiring. That massive grin on its face is never gonna get old for me. Maractus is boring, sentient cactus, nothing too special there. Dwebble is fine, and Crustle is also fine, just a typical, like, I think it's supposed to be a crab with rocks in it. But yeah, I like it. Nice enough design. Scraggy is fine. No issues with Scraggy at all. Scrafty's kind of cool though. I like Scrafty's design. It's a little humanoid, bit too close to a hoodlum, but I do actually think they designed this quite well. I think that was actually the intention of it. Was to make it like a hoodlum type Nightmon, which I definitely like. Sigilif, I like this design. It's very crazy, it's very out there, but it really does make sense for what it was designed for. So I like it a lot. Yamask is nice. I think it's fine. Cophagragus is a really good design. Not my favorite, but I do like it for a ghost type design. The whole tomb-like, coffin-like Pokemon, I think is brilliantly executed. Tortuga is fine. It's a simple turtle Pokemon. Caracosta, not super keen on its design, to be honest. It's mainly the arms at the front just kind of don't do it for me. They're just too long and just a little bit unrealistic. Archon is fine. I like Archon a decent amount. For a fossil Pokemon, it's surprisingly good. Archeops is a brilliant design, though. Perfect evolution. Really, really cool take on, like, a fossilized bird Pokemon. Really cool. Trubbish is weirdly cute to me. I like Trubbish a fair bit in terms of its design element. For a trash bag to actually look kind of goofy and cute is fine. Now, a lot of people hate Garbodor's design, but I actually like it because it was designed to be this sort of giant pile of trash, like sentient, turned into a Pokemon. Like, that's the whole point of its design. So I actually like its design for its execution. Zora and Zoroark are some of my favorite designs in this region. Hisuian is even better, but I definitely love the sort of Dark Kitsune style design that they went for with Zora and Zoroark. Minccino and Chinchino, I'm not super keen on design-wise. They're relatively generic chinchilla Pokemon that don't really have too much going for them in the design. I mean, Chinchino has got the cool tail stuff and everything like that, but it's meh. Gothita, I'm really not a fan of. Gothorita, I'm really not a fan of. And Gothitelle is only slightly better. They just look ugly to me. Like, I get what they're supposed to be, like the whole goth girl psychic type thing. I get it. But I'm just not super keen on them. I don't like this evolution line all that much. Competitively, they're phenomenal, though. Solosis is fine. Duosian is fine. Reuniclus is brilliant. Absolute top tier evolution. I think this is a psychic evolution line that pairs Alakazam surprisingly well. Obviously he's Solosis and Duosian. Not super keen on him. The concept is fine, but they are a little bit generic looking. But I do think Reuniclus executed the final evolution nicely. Ducklet and Swanna. Sorry, Rhycoustic. I can't get behind this evolution line. Just isn't my thing. At all. Vanillish. Or the whole Vanillite line, to be honest. It's not my cup of tea. Like, it's not an actual ice cream cone, obviously. It's a sentient ice cream, or sentient ice design to look like one. Not my cup of tea for a design, have to be honest. It's cool. It's okay, I guess. The Salzburg line, none of them really stand out, to be honest. They're okay, but, like, they don't, like, jump out. It's kind of a cool concept that they change depending on the seasons, though. That I can get down with, but they're okay. Like, none of their designs stand out, but none of their designs are bad either. They are objectively just generally decent designs. Emolga, I like Emolga. I like Emolga's design a lot. We finally get a Pika clone that's not just a generic mouse that just looks slightly different. We actually have a full flying squirrel, and I'm down for it. Carablast is fine. Escavalier is cool, though. I like Escavalier. Really cool design. Really well thought out design, too. I actually like the whole concept of the relationship that this has along with Excelgor, which we'll get to a little bit later. Fungus is fine. Nothing too special about Fungus, in my opinion. Amoonguss, again, the same. Cool mushroom design. Like the Pokeball elements attached to it as well. Frillish is fine. I don't have a problem with Frillish. I like Jellison's design, though. I cannot get over the fact that it does look like the Pringles lad. And I love me some Pringles. So that's all a good enough reason for me. But it is a really cool design, nonetheless. Alomomola. It's fine. There's nothing too special about it. It's just a relatively generic-looking fish. But I do think it's a bit better choice than the Basculin line, to be honest. In some cases. Joltink, it's a cool-looking spider. I like Galvantula as well. Decent designs. Definitely better than the typical generic spider-looking Pokemon. Obviously, with the electric concept, definitely helping it out a lot. Ferroseed is fine. Ferrothorn is fine. Love these guys competitively, obviously. Design-wise, not super keen overall, but I don't hate their designs either. The Kling Clang line, this is just boring. I don't know why this design exists. It's not even an electric type, it's just a steel type. Yeah, no, I like gears and stuff like that. I like mechanical things, but I just don't like the way they designed it for a Pokemon. Dynamo is a relatively generic looking electric eel. Nothing too special about it. But I do think Electric and Electros are good designs, though. I think they're fine. Nothing overly special, but I don't hate them or like them. LGM, kind of a forgettable design, along with BHM. Unfortunately, these Pokemon don't really do it for me design-wise. I get they're supposed to be this sort of otherworldly Pokemon, but I feel like their execution's a bit mediocre. Litwick line, I like this line a lot. Litwick and Lampent, a nice design. Chandelier is phenomenal. I think this is a brilliant evolution line in terms of how it's designed, from a candle to a lamplet you would typically hold, and then just this massive chandelier. Really love the design. I especially love Chandelier's shiny. It's a really well executed design as a whole. But this sentient chandelier type mon, I really like this concept. Axew is cute. It's a nice design. Fracture is a bit weird looking, to be honest. I actually don't like Fracture as a middle stage. It kind of looks a bit like a human cosplaying a dragon. But Haxorus is a really well executed design though. I love the sort of blades around its head. The concept behind that and everything like that. I like it. As a dragon, it makes sense. It works. Cubchoo, the little snot thing, kind of puts me a bit off Cubchoo a fair bit. Not super keen on it. Beartic is okay, though. It's a relatively typical... Well, it's not really a typical polar bear, but it's a polar bear concept that is made well into a Pokemon. It's fine. Cryogonal, it's okay. Obviously, more of a sentient snowflake type deal. Not really my cup of tea personally, but I don't think it's a bad design. I think it's fine. The Excelgor line, they're okay. I do think the Excelgor line is worse than the Escavalier line, but I do think it's a passable design nonetheless. Stunfisk, it's got this weird, goofy charm about it that for some reason I seem to like it. It's obviously a flatfish type design. I'm okay with it. It's quite funny. It's amusing. Mienfoo and Mienshao, I like these designs. Mienshao's arms obviously are a little bit weird for some people. They are a bit weird for me too, but I do like the sort of weasel style design that they went for. And it's not humanoid enough for me to be annoyed about it. Draudigon, I wish I could say I like Draudigon, but I kind of don't. I don't know, it's a little too generic, like kids book dragon type design. The wings kind of don't feel big enough. They don't feel like it matches, to be honest. And the head is just a weird, like, it's a weird coloration choice to just make it bright red when the rest of its design is blue. I just don't think it works for me. Golett is a nice design. I like Golett, and Golurk is a good evolution for it. Really decent design choice as a whole. For both of them, I think these work really well as ghost and ground types. I like the whole concept of... It almost reminds me of the Transformers, and I'm all for that. Pawniard is good. I like Pawniard. Bishop is good as well. Obviously, the names give them away as sort of chess pieces style. I think these are cool. Like the Blade Runner design. I like them. Bufalon, not really my cup of tea. It's a worse design than Tauros in my opinion, and both designs are kind of boring. Obviously the afro on the head is kind of a bit weird. It's cool in one sense, but weird in another. Just not really my thing. Rufflet is a relatively basic design, but it's fine. Braviary is also fine. I'm British, not American, so I'm not going to be overly obsessed with an Americanized looking bird. Volibee is a really cool concept. Mandibuzz is a really cool evolution. I think these designs make a lot of sense. I'm definitely all here for those designs. I don't think we're going to get many more S-tiers in this, to be honest. But yeah, Volibee, Mandibuzz, really cool evolution line. Love the vulture design, love the bone design elements as well. I think it works really well. Heatmore just looks a bit weird to me. I can't get behind it. It's a fire anteater type design. I don't know. The arms just look a bit weird to me. The head looks very odd. Not really a fan. Durant, I don't mind. Don't love it, don't hate it, but it's an alright design. Alright, Dino is fine. Nothing too special, really. For a start with Pseudo Legendary, it's okay. Xylas is an interesting choice for an evolution, and I love Hydreigon's design. The sort of Hydra, like, dragon-style design, the 3 heads, the 3 different personalities on them as well. The only thing that's odd and sad about it is the shiny's a bit bad, but I do think the concept is really well executed. Larvesta is a cool design. I like Larvesta's design a lot for an only bug, and Volcarona is phenomenal. As a fire moth design, I think it's literally one of the best bug-type designs that we have. I don't think many bug Pokemon are better than Volcarona design-wise. Obviously, Rabombi's the #1, but yeah, Volcarona's definitely up there. And now we're into the legendaries. So, I gotta be honest with you guys, the legendaries in this region don't do a lot for me. So these are gonna be a bit lower than you might expect. I think the Swords of Justice are fine. I don't think there's anything particularly against the Swords of Justice. They're not super great, but they're not, like, bad designs either. I don't have a problem with the Swords of Justice all that much. But I gotta be honest, the Genie designs, like, the Incarnates are just bland to me. I don't really like the Incarnate designs that much. It's just genies with their arms folded, with slightly different design elements, but they're too humanoid. And they don't do it for me. I do think the Therians are an improvement, but they're not, like, overly special. But they're relatively bland. But this is gonna be the thing that might surprise a lot of people the most. These do not really appeal to me. Reshiram, I think, is the better of them. The design's a little bit odd, but I do think it makes sense. Zakrom's design I don't like all that much. And the main reason that Zakrom doesn't do it for me is the wings look way too small. The head looks too big, the wings look too small, and then the tail just looks all over the place. It just looks a bit too complicated, and it doesn't feel like it's executed cleanly. And I gotta be real, I absolutely hate the KRM designs. For a first attempt at fusion, I don't think these worked. The Kieran White, Kieran Black, it just looks like a very awkward Frankenstein monster of trying to put the best bits of Reshiram and Zakrom onto Kyurem, and I don't think it works. Obviously, these guys are incredible competitively and for battle, but their designs just do not do it for me at all. I think they're just ugly. The fusion didn't go as well as it could have done, and I think these just don't work. Meloetta, I love Meloetta. I love the design of it. I love the notation on like its hair. I love the fact it's a musical stave, as well as sort of like a typical like pop star design. I love this concept. I think they absolutely nailed the execution of it. This is definitely one of my favorite mythicals. It was my favorite mythical at one point, but there is one other that has overtaken it. And Genesect is fine. I don't overly love or hate Genesect, but that is a cool design. I like the whole drives thing that it's got going on to change its type of the Technoblast. And the cannon on its back it's a little bit forced on, but it was kind of meant to be, because that was the whole thing that Team Plasma did to Genesect. But yeah, that is gonna wrap up my design tier list then. There's a lot of Pokemon here to cover. There's probably a lot of surprises on this list. There's probably a few that you might think are a lot lower than you'd expect. Some that are probably a bit higher. But yeah, that is my tier list for the Unova region. Let me know what you think about this tier list down below. Let me know what your favorite Unova Pokemon is. Would love to hear from you. But as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. My name is Rabombi Teacher, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take care.